This is 91.3 FM WCUW in Worcester, Massachusetts, the Dr. Chris Radio Horror Show. On the phone with us now is the cosplay model, Carrie LaChance. Thank you for coming on the show with us, Carrie.
Hey, how are you?
Carrie has been immersed in the cosplay modeling world over the last couple of years, and I'm sure it's been a roller coaster ride for you.
Yeah, it has. I've actually been modeling for about 10 years, and I got into cosplay probably about a year and a half or 2 years ago, so I'm still kind of new to the whole cosplay world, actually. So I've learned a lot since I, started cosplay and gained a lot of new fans, so I really, really like it. It's fun.
What was it that got you into modeling to begin with?
I got into modeling actually kind of by accident. I worked as a pizza delivery driver at Pizza Hut, and I was in beauty school, and one of my friends worked at a laundromat. She's like, oh, there's this guy that comes in all the time. He's a photographer. He takes sexy pictures of girls. I was like, oh, really? So I'm like, let's check it out. I did my first photo shoot for Arch Enemies back in 2004, and the rest is kind of history, but that's where it all began with Arch Enemies.
The first cosplay that you did was, you said, Black Widow, right?
Yeah, I did Black Widow. I had to do it about a year and a half ago now after seeing the Avengers movie, and I fell in love with her character. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do a cosplay of that. I had done some miscellaneous kind of cosplays before that, but nothing legit. So that was my first one. I had so much fun with it. It was just a totally different experience than any other photo shoot that I had done, and I just loved kind of getting into character, and it was just really different than any other shoot I'd done, because mostly I do lingerie, pinup, fashion, glamour, stuff like that. So with the cosplay, it kind of it changes a lot of stuff, and it's more interesting, and you can kind of get into character a little bit, and it's just really fun. I love it.
What's the number one outfit you're most proud of doing, and do you sew the outfits yourself?
I don't. Well, a lot of the outfits I have, a lot of the costumes I've done so far are made out of latex. So I don't make the latex myself. I have a couple of friends and sponsors that put everything together for me, but I do all the research behind it, all the legwork, and put the outfits together. I do make some of them myself, like my baby doll outfit. I had somebody help me with the top and the skirt. And then I put together the sword, I painted it, and the hardest part about my baby doll costume actually was finding the leather wrap for the end of the sword. I couldn't find the right material, and I went to so many different craft stores, and so that was kind of a pain in the butt. But the rest of it, it came together really well. I was really proud of the baby doll, so I would say I had the most fun with that, and I actually shot it in an amazing location. You go to my website, carrielachance.com, you can see all the pictures from it, but it was in an old school blacksmith shop, and so this was kind of perfect for the whole theme. So yeah, I'd say my baby dolls have been my favorite. I had a lot of fun with the Supergirl. I've done actually 2 different Supergirl shoots, so both of those are actually made out of latex, but I love all of them.
Is it really hard to get into latex leather like the Catwoman suit that you have on your website?
Yeah, the Catwoman cat suit. Well, actually, that's a number one question that people ask me when they see my Catwoman. They're like, "Oh, is that hard to get into, or whatever?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not too bad because there's some tricks that you can do. You can put either baby powder or the shiner that you put on the outside. You can put that actually on the inside, and then it's a lot easier to kind of put it on that way. So that's kind of one of the little tricks that I always tell people first. Oh, how do you put that on?" But yeah, that cat food actually was made by a company in Montreal called Polymorph, and she makes some amazing latex. I'm like, you know what? I want to do a Catwoman photo shoot. It's going to be epic. And then I had a graphic designer, FGH Photo Art, out of, I believe, Orlando, Florida. He went in and manipulated some of my pictures and put some backgrounds on it. If you go to my website, you can see that I have some amazing backdrops from some of the Catwoman and my Supergirl pictures from him. So it's really fun though.
Have you seen they are going to be they're making a Supergirl television series?
Seriously? I did not know that.
Yep.
That's cool. I actually watched every single season of Smallville. It was one of the first kind of geeky show that I watched, I guess you could say. I think there's 10 seasons, right?
There are 10 seasons.
Yeah, I've watched all of them. I like the beginning ones, like the early ones better, though.
The show's going to be on CBS, and they were looking at the blonde vampire from the Vampire Diaries who plays Rebecca to play Supergirl. I don't know if those talks are still in negotiation, but the cast is going to be Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, her adopted sister, because she crash lands on Earth. I heard from what they've revealed about the plot is that she comes to Earth after Krypton explodes, and she's been living on Earth in secret until she goes to college. And after she graduates from college, she realizes she needs to do something with her powers, and she really wants to follow in her cousin's footsteps. So she becomes Supergirl, and her first case as a reporter, because she gets a job as an intern at a newspaper, is covering the serial killer, the Toy Man.
Oh my god, that's so cool! I'm totally gonna watch it. When does it come out?
I don't know. They're still casting right now, but that's
they're still casting.
yeah. Her supporting cast members will be her adopted parents and Jimmy Olsen and her adopted sister and the serial killer, the Toy Man.
Oh my god, that's epic.
Yeah, and I think it's great. They're giving her a villain that's like a child serial killer, which is really creepy and nasty. And they're not just giving her like a stupid female generic villain to fight. You know what I mean? Just because she's a female character.
That's awesome. I'll definitely have to check that out. I just Googled it right now. I'm looking at it. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I do hope they cast Rebecca. I don't know the actress's name, but again, she plays Rebecca on the Vampire Diaries in the originals, and she's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. I think that'd be great. But I also see a lot of problems with Supergirl, because for the longest time, she was just, before there was a term called cosplay, that's all Supergirl was. She was basically a woman cosplaying as Superman. And she had no character development, she had no character dynamic, and nobody gave a shit about her until she got killed off in Crisis.
Yeah, that's crazy. I actually watched all the Vampire Diaries, and I just actually finished, not finished, but I'm in the process of watching the originals. I watched the first season on Netflix, and then I just purchased, I believe, season 2 on Amazon. And it's at the mid-season finale right now. But yeah, Rebecca would be awesome for that role of Supergirl.
Well, you look pretty good in that Supergirl costume. You would, you'd fill that out pretty well too.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, I should go cast for this movie. That would be kind of epic. It's actually one of my most popular photo shoots ever. Like, I saw more prints of Supergirl than anything, actually. And that's partially why I did another photo shoot in it this summer, because everybody loved it so much, and I had really good response from them. I'm like, all right, let's do another one of this, because I had a lot of fun with the first one. So
there's also, I see a lot of problems, again, playing Supergirl, is that you're going to have the feminist groups coming out there saying, they would never write that plot line for Superman, or, this isn't being represented correctly, and who's directing this show, and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's going to be, whoever they cast, she's going to get attacked like crazy, because there are going to be, very hateful people who do nothing other than bitch and complain, and these are going to be mostly women saying that they don't feel like Supergirl is representing the female superhero good enough. The costume's too skimpy, she's too skinny, she's too big, whatever. Yeah. It's like
her boobs too big, or her, butt showing, they always have different issues. Yeah. I get a lot of stuff like that all the time. But I love, as far as my cosplay goes, I love doing, sexy cosplay. That's kind of my thing. I always like to put kind of like a pinup twist on, all the different characters that I portray. I mean, I'm a pinup model, so obviously it's kind of my thing, but, Supergirl obviously doesn't wear, 6-inch boots, but I wore 6-inch boots in my photo shoot, so I'm like, hey, whatever. Cosplay can be whatever you want it to be, I think.
What's the most difficult costume that you've had to put together?
Probably the baby dolls, because a lot of research kind of went into it, and like I was saying, making the sword, I ran into a lot of problems when I was putting the sword together, because the event that I went to, the HartfordCon, where I premiered the cosplay, and I actually wore it at the event as well. And when I was painting the sword, stamps that I put on it, like they didn't stick, and I had all kinds of different problems. It took me like 3 or 4 days just to get the props together. And like the gun that I have, like the baby doll gun, is really specific. It has a lot of decals on the front, and it has the charms. And so I basically bought like the fake gun. Obviously, you're not going to bring a real gun to a comic convention. And I spray painted it, and then I printed out like the exact details that she has on the gun, and put it on the front. And then I bought these charms online, and they were like the exact ones from the movie. So I think it came out really good. I was pretty proud of it, but it was a lot of work to put together, and the research behind it, I guess. So.
Now you said
another thing too, like with the shoes for the baby doll, like she doesn't wear 6-inch heels, but I had to find the right type of heel that she will wear, but in like a higher heel. So I had kind of a lot of time putting into that too. So
now you wear the longer heels. I mean, how tall are you?
I am 5'3" I always tell people 5'4", but technically I'm 5'3" 3/4".
Wow. Okay.
So,
to be honest, like in a lot of your pictures, you look a hell of a lot taller, especially like your semi nudes or your really, really, kind of Victoria's Secret Playboy style pictures. You look freaking ginormous.
I know. It's so funny. I went to an event like last month, and that's what every single person said. They're like, "Oh my God, you're so tiny. You're so tiny." I'm like, okay. It's just funny because, like, I obviously see my pictures every day, and I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever. But, I mean, obviously the shoes make me look a lot taller, too. But, I think a lot of it goes into the angles, too, that Nate, my photographer, shoots me at, too. Like if you get a lower angle or, things like that. So, well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and you meet also, and also in all your photographs, you also look like, and this is gonna sound like a compliment, so I don't want you to think it's weird, but you meet you in real life, and you look very young, but on all your photographs, you look like like a full grown woman.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that?
Yeah, I do. I get a lot of different. Some people are like, "Oh, you look like you're 23." And then some of my pictures like, oh, you look like you're 30, or hey, you look like you're 18, or you're 25.
You don't look like you're 18 in your pictures, and that's a compliment. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm 29 years old, and I'm dreading my 30th birthday, which is coming up in April. But I guess I have to look at it like you're only as old as you feel, and I feel like I'm about 23. So we'll go with that number.
My co-host who couldn't be here tonight to sit in on the interview, she is turning 30 next week, so she's already like, goodbye, 20s.
I know. It's kind of scary when you hit that number. It's like a milestone in life. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like I'm 30, and I guess there's nothing wrong with being 30, but, I always told myself back when I started modeling back when I was about 19 or 20, I'm like, I'm going to stop modeling when I'm 30. And then I'm going to have kids and all this, but now I'm like almost 30, and I'm like, no, I think I'm going to wait till I'm 35. We'll see. We'll see how I feel at 35. Maybe I'll keep modeling till I'm 40. Who knows, right? There's people that have done it, so.
And then you can start a whole different type of cosplaying, pregnancy. Like you start like flipping through and go, okay, what are pregnant characters I could cosplay? Ooh, I could be Demi Moore from The Seventh Sign, or.
That would be interesting.
Or I could be Rosemary from Rosemary's Baby,
Oh, God. Yeah.
Now, you go to a lot of conventions, right?
I actually haven't attended that many. My first Comic-Con was in May of this year, and that was a lot of fun. That was my very, very first one. I was pretty nervous about it because it was the first time I'd ever been to an event like that before. I mean, I've been to a lot of events before, like car shows and glamour events and things like that, but this was my first Comic-Con that I went to in May, and I've already had a huge response from it. I mean, that was pretty much the first time I really debuted any of my cosplay in person. So I had a really great response from it, and I love the atmosphere. I think it's a lot of fun, and I love, obviously, being able to dress up in my cosplays, going to events like that. So, yeah.
So you've been pretty much an attendee of conventions until Hartford.
No, I've never attended a Comic-Con before. That
Oh,
was my
really?
first
Oh, okay.
time.
Because I remember you told me you worked at a comic book store because Nate owns a comic book store.
Yeah, I actually never went to any events or anything like that. I mean, I live in Maine, so there's not really anything around here.
This is by the way where you plug your husband's comic book store in the name of the store.
Right. The name of, okay, so I'll start over. So back when I started modeling for Arch Enemies, Nate LaChance is my husband now. He owned a comic book store that he also ran Arch Enemies out of. So he was kind of running comic book store along with shooting sexy girls. So it's kind of like the opposite, but it worked.
Oh, his life must have sucked so much.
Oh, I know. Totally shooting hot chicks every day and reading comic books. So
son of a bitch.
Yeah, right? He gets it all the time. People are like, oh, you have such a rough life, dude, or your job's so hard. So, yeah, I met Nate, did a couple photo shoots. We ended up getting married, like, within, I don't even know, 5 months. And
of meeting each other?
Yeah.
Wow.
I fell in love with a total nerd. So after we got married, we moved in together, and then I started helping him run the comic book store. And I had actually never been into a comic book store until Wallcrawler was the name of it. And
I've been there.
A huge Wallcrawler, Spider-Man, huge Spider-Man fan. Hence my Mary Jane cosplay. But yeah, so I started working the comic book store, and that was kind of the first time I was really exposed to anything like this, because I grew up in a really small town, Dover, Foxcroft, and there was no comic book stores there. There was nothing really there at all. So I started working there, and I never really got into reading comic books a lot, but I played HeroClix, interacted with all the, total nerds that would come in and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot.
With so many young girls who see your pictures and then turn around and be like, oh my god, I could do this. I look like her. What advice do you have for them? Should they try and do it? Should they try and get into it? Should they stop doing what they're doing and being like and just kind of go along the cosplay route? I mean, what's the good advice? What's the good advice that you give for the ups and downs? Kind of. I don't know how to phrase the question, but what advice you have?
So I kind of got really lucky just because obviously my husband's my photographer, so that's a huge benefit that I have, but the best advice I could give anybody is really know what you want and where you want to go with it. I knew exactly what I wanted in the very beginning, and I knew I wanted to do edgier, sexier stuff. And I guess just having exactly where you want to go. Like, if you want to be in Playboy, know that you want to be in Playboy. If you want to do just cosplay, know exactly what type of cosplay you want to do. Because there's so many different variations, And I guess finding a really good photographer that can get you some really, really high quality pictures, because that's really important, is building a really good portfolio. Again, I'm really lucky because, I have a full-time photographer. I'm a hair and makeup artist as well. So I do most of my own hair and makeup. But if you're going to get into modeling, definitely find a really good photographer, find a really good hair and makeup artist, and spend the money to get some really good shots. And then from there, just really try to go to castings if you need to, or, just really network with a lot of people. Maine is obviously really hard to get into modeling. So, go to LA or Florida or New York City. It really depends on what type of modeling you really want to get into, I guess, where you're located. But just build that image for, what you want to be right from the beginning.
Solid advice.
Solid.
What we were talking about yesterday that you're a massive, more of a bigger TV fan than of movies. What are you currently watching that you recommend to your fans?
It's funny. It's actually on pause right now, but I'm watching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's what I'm currently watching, and it's kind of epic. I watched the first season on Netflix as usual, and then I purchased the full second season on Amazon, which I don't even think it's completely out yet. I'm on episode like 7, I think. But yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is really good. What other TV shows? Supernatural. I think we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, are you all caught up on? Are you all caught up on Supernatural with what with Demon Dean?
No, I actually haven't seen. I think the last 2 seasons or the last season. I haven't watched it in a really, really long time, but I really like that show a lot. The Originals is actually another really, really good one. I'd highly recommend. I didn't like Originals when I first watched it, like the first episode or two. I was kind of like, I don't like it because I'm a huge Vampire Diaries fan, and that's why I watched Originals. And I wasn't feeling it at first, but then once I got into it, I was like, whoa, this is epic. So obviously, I continued to watch it, and it's amazing. I like vampires, so that's kind of my thing. I did a vampire photo shoot actually, like, I don't know, probably a year or two ago, and I went out and bought like the fangs, and I had the leather corset, and I had like the whole thing. So.
What's your favorite vampire movie? And if you say Twilight, I'll cut you off.
Well, actually, I really like Vampire Diaries. I don't like the movie, but I really like the Vampire Diaries and Originals. I mean, those are probably 2 of my favorites. What is your favorite?
That's a complicated question.
Have you seen Originals?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm only up to season 3 or 4 of the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, yeah? Originals is a lot different than the Vampire Diaries. It's not as, I guess, sappy. I mean, I kind of like the sappy part of Vampire Diaries, but I guess with the Originals, it like really puts a different spin on it because it's more of a, I guess you could say, hardcore vampire show.
I would have to say my favorite vampire show of all time would be Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel.
Oh, yeah, I've seen a couple episodes of Buffy. I haven't seen a lot. Like, I've seen just like some of the very earlier ones.
Oh, you wound me and fail epically as a geek girl.
Yeah, Joss Whedon made Buffy, right?
Yes, he also directed the Avengers and the upcoming Age of Ultron.
Oh, yes, I know that. Have you seen Dark Angel with Jessica Alba?
Yes, I own I have both seasons signed by a couple of the people in that.
Oh my god, that's epic. I'm obsessed with Dark Angel. I think I've watched it like 3 times. I actually just watched it again like 2 months ago. You
know her roommate that was on that show, the blonde girl?
Yeah.
She that's Jennifer Blank Bean. She's married to Michael Bean, who also played Kyle Reese in Terminator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she is, and she was just she just turned 40 this year, and she appeared in the German cover of Penthouse.
What?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep, she was asked to be the Playmate of the Month in Penthouse in Germany,
wow.
and she got the cover, and yeah, she is. She don't look 40. Let's just say that.
See, she's still doing her thing, and she's 40. I have a chance, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Dark Angel. That's one of my favorite shows. Actually, I think it was the first TV series that I ever watched. I think that's why I love it so much.
And the cop that always came around their apartment to give him a hard time.
Yeah.
He's been in tons of stuff. God, his name always escapes me. In fact, he was actually in the original Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. movie starring David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury. He was playing Dum Dum Duncan, and he's, for Transformer fans, he is most notably always will be known as the voice of Optimus Primal on Transformers Beast Wars and Beast Machines.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Gary LaChance, that's his name.
Gary LaChance.
Yeah.
Huh, that's really cool. Yeah, on Dark Angel, I didn't actually like Jessica Alba. I'd seen a couple of films that she was in. I think it was like Honey and a couple of different ones.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a big fan of her, and then I watched Dark Angel, and then I'm like obsessed. She's like my constant woman crush Wednesday.
For a lot of guys, her biggest disappointment has been she's in 2 Sin City movies playing a stripper and never actually strips.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of disappointing. I know. When I went to go see Sin City, I was like, oh, she's not taking her clothes off.
No. And she ruined two Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah. That's funny. Another one that I really like too that I would recommend to anyone listening is Firefly. It's kind of an old school one, but that's another really good one. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but
Oh, of course, it's made by Joss Whedon.
yeah.
And it stars Nathan Fillion from Castle.
I know. I love Nathan Fillion.
It's so funny. It's so funny you mention that right now because I have sitting in my hand waiting to play after I get off the phone with you White Noise 2, which stars Nathan Fillion and the woman who played Starbuck on Battlestar Galactica.
Oh my god, that's funny. I've seen Battlestar Galactica too. It's been a while, but yeah, I really like Firefly a lot. That's one of my favorites.
Now, let me ask you this. A lot of people, and I God only knows what Disney will cast or whatever, because, I mean, Marvel Studios, is obviously going to go, they're not always going to go for the super young people, like the new, like Fox has this new Fantastic Four movie coming out, and they cast all these stupid-looking teenage, early 20-something people, which look ridiculous. Whereas Marvel Studios actually casts full-grown actors to play their characters. Like the guy who's going to play the new Black Panther, he's 30 years old. The Scarlet Witch, she's 31 years old. I mean, they have a Benedict Cumberbatch. He's 40-something years old, and he's going to play Doctor Strange. I mean, a lot of people are hoping, because she looks so identical to the way the character is, that the woman who played Starbuck would be cast as Carol Danvers, a.k.a. Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And I think that would be a great casting. I mean...
Yeah, it really would.
I mean, look at okay, so you watch S.H.I.E.L.D. The actress who plays Agent May, she's 51 years old. I couldn't believe that.
Wow, she looks probably maybe 35, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I have been in love with that actress since she was, a lot of people don't know this, but she was the voice of Mulan from the Disney Mulan movies.
What?
Yep.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yep, and she played Deborah Chen on ER for 160 episodes.
Yeah.
And she was a senator on Stargate Universe.
I think that's where I've seen her, actually, because when I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I was like, I know that actress. I do that all the time when I'm watching shows. I'm like, oh, I've seen that guy before. The guy that plays the senator in S.H.I.E.L.D., he was in Blue Collar. I think that was the name of the show. He was Blue Collar. I was like, wait, I know that guy from somewhere. I always see different people's faces, and I'm like, oh, I recognize them from another show. Yeah, that's where I recognize May from.
I highly recommend, since you're a big Joss Whedon fan, and this is such a nice romantic movie you could watch with Nate, Much Ado About Nothing.
What is it?
Much Ado About Nothing.
Nothing to do about nothing?
No. Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, okay.
It stars Alex Denisoff, who was on Angel and Buffy, Amy Acker, who played the celloist last season on S.H.I.E.L.D., it's got Nathan Fillion. It's got Greg Clark, also known as, Agent Phil Coulson. It's got all of Joss Whedon's character actors in it. So anyone who's been in a Joss Whedon production or movie or TV series, they're in this movie.
That's awesome. I love how he does that.
Yeah, like the girl who, in the event... Okay, this is getting really specific, but in the Avengers, Captain America saves a girl... a waitress, and later on at the end of the movie, when they're interviewing people about the Avengers, she says, she's on camera saying, Captain America saved my life, and I'll always be grateful for that. She's Beatrice's cousin in Much Ado About Nothing.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
I highly recommend it. It's black and white. It's Shakespeare, and it's done they read all the original Shakespeare dialogue, but it's set today.
Oh, that's really cool. I'll have to look that up.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a huge Joss Whedon fan. He's amazing.
He also did a movie called In the Eyes, about two people that share a connection. They can see into each other's eyes from distances away.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. One guy is down on his luck, construction worker, and the other woman is like a housewife, ready to get married to some really rich guy. and
Yeah.
it's they're I guess it's science fiction because that's very sci-fi like, but
Right.
it was this beautiful movie that he put out earlier this year that you could rent for on Vimeo, and it's supposed to be on DVD or Blu-ray sometime just before the Avengers comes out.
Ah, when does the Age of Ultron come out?
First
Is it
weekend of May.
first weekend of May? Okay. I can't wait for that.
Yes.
Oh, I think, yeah, so I saw the Avengers movie, I think, at least 2 or 3 times when I went to Las Vegas. I know, out of all the things to do in Las Vegas, why don't you go to see Avengers? Yeah.
Well,
Sounds pretty fun.
we give away free IMAX tickets every once in a while, and we are going to be trying to get some IMAX tickets for the Avengers: Age of Ultron. So if we get some, I'll contact Nate to see about you guys coming out to Massachusetts to see Avengers: Age of Ultron in IMAX.
Yeah, that'd be epic.
Cool. Well,
Cool.
Carrie, give out your website and mention what the next convention you might be appearing at is going to be.
You can check me out. My name is Carrie LaChance, and my website is just carrielachance.com. My Facebook is facebook.com/Carrie LaChance fan page, and you can follow me on all the other social medias like Instagram and Twitter at Carrie LaChance. So if you just type in my name, you'll find me.
Are you going to be at another convention coming up soon?
I think that I have something in the works for New York Comic Con next year. I have kind of a hush-hush thing going on. I can't really say too much, but it's actually pretty amazing and epic that I can't say anything about. But if things go through, then I definitely will be at New York Comic Con next year, and it will be amazing. And if you go to my website, you'll be able to see the good news when it's posted there.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic, Carrie. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And again, it was a pleasure to meet you in Hartford last summer.
Oh, yes, you too. Thank you for having me on.
Hold on.